Hi, Dory Class here. So I've been talking about my 5 guiding principles, and I want to talk to you now about guiding principle number 4, which is to make meaning, not sense. And, or better said, to make meaning regularly and often. And I'm going to read to you just what I wrote on my website. So on my website, www.doryclass.com, in the resources section and the recommended reading section, I have a bunch of books recommended by guiding principle. And for guiding principle number 4, make meaning regularly and often, I wrote, through contemplation, reflection, compassionate inquiry, we can experience true intimacy and grow by opening to the mysteries and wisdom within and around us. Understanding and clarity emerge from there, and that's a beautiful thing. We're sensual beings. We're sexual beings, biologically and otherwise. We're craving intimacy. And I would argue that for most of us, we're experiencing intimacy by bonding on our wounds, by making that fear, doubt, and concern I was talking about in guiding principle number 3 more important than making love the most important thing. And I would like to be a part of the movement to shift our focus from all of that to making meaning, which is about experiencing life and experiencing intimacy and experiencing ourselves as sensual biological beings, getting back into our bodies, getting back into our hearts, getting back into our minds in a conscious way, and allowing ourselves to feel awakened and beautiful and vibrant and vital in the process. Joseph Campbell talks about, or says this thing, a vital person vitalizes. So when I talk about sensuality and sexuality and intimacy and vitality, I'm talking about living a vital life. I'm talking about living while we're alive. And it's less about what our mind tries to do, like when we do that pilgrimage from the body and the heart to our brains and our minds, and we try to make sense of everything. And I promise you, at least with the past I've had, somebody who's been diagnosed with complex PTSD, somebody who's been raped violently 3 times, somebody who's, shouldn't be alive today in many respects, who's lost people in tragic and violent ways. I understand firsthand how violent and awful our world is, and I promise you, I don't necessarily want to make sense of it. That's what my mind tries to do, make sense of it, categorize things, organize things. I'm a very logical, rational, kind of left brain, strategically oriented person, and I promise you that's not going to serve me. What will serve is to make meaning regularly and often. What will serve is to learn from the experiences we've had. And that's a big part of my commitment at this stage in my life, is to share the insights that I'm receiving internally with you in ways that you can apply the learning tangibly and actively and consciously in your life to bring about a better life, a better version of yourself, to cut through all the barriers to love that's already there, to the wholeness that's already there. That's what I'm committed to, is to letting all the horrible lessons I've learned, all the difficult experiences I've had, and the good ones, become useful, not just to me in my life, but perhaps to you and yours, to share the wisdom that I now trust. Yeah. So guiding principle number 4 is to make meaning regularly and often, which is about growth, which is about learning, which is about staying open to change and evolution and transformation, which is about turning toward transitions consciously and actively, understanding that to really navigate a transition well, and the transition is the internal work that's married up to an external change, let's say, we have to be willing to name and honor the endings, to celebrate and grieve them. We have to be willing to be in the neutral zone, that space between what's come before and what will be. We have to develop the capacity to sit with the uncertainty in that space, to sit with not knowing, to trust that there's fertility there and that there are gifts that will be revealed. But we have to be willing to sit there and be patient and slow down and not have our mind control everything. And all of these skills that I'm talking about, with all of these guiding principles, and especially this one, are skills we can learn. They're muscles we can build. They're capacities we can learn, hone, and master. And that's really exciting. That can keep life very, very interesting. So, guiding principle number 1 is about putting relationships first, beginning with the relationship with yourself. Guiding principle number 2 is about keeping the lines of communication open and getting good at it. Guiding principle number 3 is about making love the most important thing. And guiding principle number 4 is about making meaning regularly and often, which requires us to pause now and then, to be still now and then, to be contemplative now and then, and to not have to tie it all up in a nice, neat little bow necessarily, to just be with what comes, what we see, what we sense in our bodies, and what we feel in our hearts, and to have a relationship with those things. And from there, the meaning, the learning, the growth will come. So that's it. Guiding principle number 4 is make meaning regularly and often.